Hello students, myself Dr. Sachin Gurule, Assistant Professor from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nasik. In the previous video of subject entomology first belongs to chapter 4, that is morphology of insect. We have started the topic that is abdomen of a generalized insect, and we have learned the abdominal segmentation and the skeletal composition of the abdomen and the classification of the abdominal segment into the pregenital, genital and postgenital segment on the basis of the genital aperture present on the abdomen. Now in this lecture, we are going to learn the abdominal appendages, particularly the appendages which are present on the pregenital abdominal segments, which are known as the pregenital appendages. So let's see the pregenital appendages. Now each abdominal segment of an insect embryo bears a pair of rudimentary appendages, but most of them they are disappear during the post-embryonic development. So here in this diagram you can see the embryo of an insect which contains a pair of appendage on each and every segment present into the body. So this is a head region, then this one is a thoracic region, and from here the rest of the segments are belongs to the abdominal segments. And here you can see in each segment there is a presence of pair of appendage, and these rudimentary appendages actually, but these rudimentary appendages they disappear as the embryonic development is complete, and into the post embryonic development there is no such appendage found on the abdominal segments of an insect. Now among the adult insect of particularly the pterygotes, they have the appendages mostly on some posterior part of the segments of the abdomen. For example, a pair of cerci present on the 11th segment, which is a peculiarity of the hemimetabolous insect, and the genitalia which is present on the segment number 8 and 9 in case of female, while segment number 9 in case of male. So among the pterygote insect, whatever appendages are there on the abdomen, these appendages are either a cerci, which are the segmental appendage belongs to the 11th segment of abdomen, and the structure which are contributing the reproductive structure, particularly the external genitalia, which is found on the segment that is 8 and 9 among the female and 9th in case of the male. In rest of the pterygote insect, generally they are devoid of any kind of the abdominal appendages on the abdominal segment. Now these segments therefore are called as the genital segment. Why? Because the genital aperture is present on 8 and 9 in case of female and 9th on the male. So these segments are referred as the genital. Then segments prior to the 8, they are considered as the pregenital segments, which are in the adult pterygote completely devoid of any kind of the appendage, means they do not contain any kind of the appendage. That is the segment prior to the segment number 8, means you can say from the segment number 1 to segment number 7, these are referred as the pregenital segments. And in case of the Pterygota, where the wings are absent, as well as in case of the immature and the metamorphosis form of the pterygota, however, various segmental appendages are occurs on the pregenital segment of the abdomen. As these appendages are present on the pregenital segment, these are commonly referred as the pregenital abdominal appendages. So let's see which are the pregenital abdominal appendages present into the some pterygote insect and the pterygote insect. The pregenital appendages, which contains a ventral tube of an adult columbella. Columbella is an order. Here, the ventral tube is formed due to the fusion of a paired appendage of the embryonic first abdominal segment. So here you can see in the diagram. So this is one of the example belongs to the Columbella, order Columbella, and here you can see the thoracic segment, and this one is the first abdominal segment. If you see from the ventral side of this abdominal segment, number one, there is a ventral tube, and this ventral tube actually is a form from the fusion of the paired appendage which are present at the first abdominal segment in case of the embryonic condition. Now similarly, adult Protura and Diplora also bears a pair of appendage on the first abdominal segment, though they occurs in the paired glandular appendages and are commonly termed as the pleuropodia. So these pleuropodia, these are also found into the Protura and the Diplora. They are also regarded as the pregenital abdominal appendages. Now similarly, the segment from 2 to 7 bear a pair of appendage as a leg in case of larvae of Neuroptera. In case of Neuropteran larvae, the abdominal segment number 2 to 7, they contains a paired appendages belongs to the abdominal segment, and in addition these appendages are serving as a secondary function of the tracheal gills, as the larvae of Neuroptera, they are aquatic, and for the aquatic respiration they requires a gills, and so whatever appendages which are present on the segment number 2 to 7 of the abdomen, these are acting as the tracheal gills. So in this way, in many pterygote insect, they are provided with such a kind of the pregenital abdominal appendages, and also in case of some pterygote insect, for example if you see the Neuroptera, they also contains a pregenital appendages. Now similar type of structure are also found on the larvae of some Mecoptera, then Hymenoptera, Lepidoptera, in which they develop into the locomotory appendages. And these locomotory appendages which are present into the larval condition of some Hymenoptera and Lepidoptera, they are useful for the purpose of walking, and they are referred as the prolegs, which are the pseudo or the false leg present at only the larval condition, but as they becomes an adult, these larval legs, so called as prolegs, are often degenerate one. So this can be also referred as the pregenital abdominal appendages. In Pterygota, however, they are continue to few segments and are widely modified among the different group of the pterygote, and that we have to learn one by one. So let's start with the first kind of the abdominal appendages which are located on the pregenital segment, that is the styliform appendage. Now Pterygota commonly have a styliform pregenital appendages. Thysanura have a style on a second and ninth abdominal segment, particularly in case of the family, that is Machulidae. Machulidae generally provided with a style which are present on the segment number 2 to 9, which are look like this one. So these are the styliform appendages which are found into the pterygote insect. The abdominal appendages are in a reduced condition. Each is differentiated into the limb basis and the coxite, which fuses with the sterna, that is a ventral plate, and the appendages are represented only by this style. So this style, they are provided with the coxopodite. Here you can see the coxopodite, with the help of which it is get attached to that of the sternum, and only the stylus or the styli is giving out. The styli do not develop on the first segment, but generally this styli is start from the segment number 2 to segment number 9. Their position of the styli is differ from the different families in case of that Thysanura. Now similarly, the 10th segment also not contain any appendages. Lepisma, however, bears a pregenital abdominal appendages which are present on the segment number 7 to 9. Means this is the difference belongs to only A if you see the Thysanura group. In one family, that is Machulidae, the styli are present on the segment number 2 to 9 from the abdomen. While in case of another group, that is Lepismatidae, example is Lepisma. In case of that Lepisma, the such a kind of the styli are present on the segment number 7 to 9 only. The pregenital segments are provided with a median or a paired irreversible sac. So you can see this kind of the irreversible sac. The protura bears a pair of appendage on the first 3 abdominal segment with such a kind of the protrusible sac. So which are containing these tergal muscles, and with the help of which these vesicles can come out, and these kind of the structure or the appendages in protura, they are having the secondary function of the respiration, that is the acting as the accessory respiratory organ among the proturan insects. So this is known as the styliform appendage. The styliform appendage is only found into the Pterygota, particularly the two group. First one is a Thysanura and second one is a Proteus. So here you can see the diagram of the styliform appendage into the Thysanura, like looks like this one, and the protrusible sac-like appendage which is present in case of the protura. So this is about styliform appendage. The next one is the columballan appendages. Now columballan appendages are completely dedicated to the order that is Columbella. Now Columbella do not bears a external genitalia. They do not contain a external genitalia, but they bears a 3 pregenital appendages, and these 3 pregenital appendages are the Callophore, tenaculum and furcula. So these are the columballan appendage which are very characteristic for the order Columbella, and they are situated medioventrally and are unpaired appendicular structure in case of the adult insect belongs to order Columbella. So here in this diagram we can see this is a Callophore which is known as a ventral tube which is provided with a adhesive sac-like structure at the distal end, which is useful for walking on the slippery surface also. So this is known as a Callophore. Then next one is a furcula. So here at the end of the abdominal segment you can see, so this is a furcula which is a giving a spring-like mechanism to that insect, and hence commonly they are referred as the springtails. And another structure which is known as the tenaculum, which is also present on the proximal abdominal segment from the ventral side, which engages that furcula for the springing mechanism. So let's see one by one. First of all, the Callophore. The first abdominal segment in case of Columbella of the adult insect, they bears a ventrally a median tube, and this median tube is referred as the Callophore. So here in this diagram you can able to see the Callophore just beneath the legs. So this is a legs, and if you see in between the leg you can see the ventral tube known as a Callophore. Now it is a long cylindrical tube terminating in a bilobe protrusible vesicle. So here you can see a bilobe protrusible vesicle, and this protrusible vesicle is filled with the whatever blood contains in their body. Now this Callophore is movable structure, and it is articulated by a pair of retractor muscles. So here you can see a pair of retractor muscles are there which are attached to that bilobe distalmost structure or the distalmost sac or the vesicles which are present at the apical region of the callophore. Now it may be the function as the adhesive organ. So as they are sticky enough, these kind of the organs is useful for holding the substratum when they are walking on some rough or some slippery surface. So for that purpose they uses a callophore. So this is about the callophore as the pregenital abdominal appendage belongs to the columbella. Then second one is a tenaculum. The third abdominal segment from the ventral side bears a minute median organ, and it is also known as the retinaculum, or it is also referred as the hamula, or it is also known by the name tenaculum. Means for that tenaculum as a pregenital abdominal appendage of columbellin, it is also known by the retinaculum, it is also known by the hamula, or normally it is referred as the tenaculum only. Now this organ is consist of the basal carpus region. So this is the basal region which is known as a carpus, and distal paired processes. These distal paired processes are referred as a rami. So these are the rami, and the rami contains a teeth on their outer margin. So here you can see the outer margin of these two rami. They contains a teeth on the outer margin, and internally they are provided with the muscles which are known as the adductor muscles. Now again we can see, so this tenaculum is also known by the retinaculum or the hamula, or sometimes it is also referred as a catch, simple catch. Now it consists of the basal part. So this is a basal part known as the corpus, and the distal paired processes, these distal processes are referred as a rami, and these rami from their outer margin they contains a teeth, and these are internally provided with the adductor muscle. Now this organ, it helps in a springing process by holding the flexed furcula. So the function of this tenaculum will discuss after the description of the furcula. Okay, so up to this you can just remember this tenaculum is responsible for holding the flexed furcula. So this is about the tenaculum. Then third one is a furcula. The furcula has the modification again in case of the columbellin insect. The fourth abdominal segment bears a ventrally a springing or leaping organ. This leaping or the springing organ is known as the furcula. It contains a basal median manubrium. So this is a basal region which is referred as the manubrium, and a pair of arms. So these are the pair of arms which are referred as a dens. Each arm is divided into the proximal long segment which is known as a dens, and a distal short segment. This distal short segment is referred as the mucro. So in this way, this furcula is consist of the basal region known as a manubrium and a pair of the processes long segment. The long segment is referred as a dens and the short segment is referred as the mucro. The manubrium is also innervated by two pairs of muscles, one each of the flexor muscles and the extensor muscles. These flexor and extensor muscles are also known as the abductor muscles and the adductor muscles. Now let's see the function of both that furcula and the tenaculum. Now at the flexed condition, this furcula which is present on the fourth abdominal segment, this fourth abdominal furcula is get engaged with that of the tenaculum, particularly into the teeth region of the rami of the tenaculum, so that this mucro part, particularly this mucro part is held by these teeth or the rami of the tenaculum, and when this retinaculum or tenaculum or the catch which left this mucro or the furcula, this furcula is get bombarded on the surface, so that insect, it provides a jumping mechanism like a spring, and hence these insects are also known as springtails because they has a kind of a tail which has a springing mechanism. So this furcula is engaged into the tenaculum. When it is released, this part of the furcula, that is mucro, and the long arms, they are get bombarded. So here if you see this furcula, suppose this is a third abdominal segment contains a tenaculum at the flexed condition, this furcula is going to hold here, follow the pointer, in the tenaculum, and when this tenaculum left that furcula, so it moves like this one. If you see the arrow, so if the position of the furcula is here, when it is released, that furcula goes in this direction and it is get bombarded with the surface, and so that the insect is get a jumping or the leaping movement like a spring, and hence they are referred as the springtails. So in this way, these three kinds of the unique pregenital abdominal appendages are found among the columballian insects. So this is about the columballian appendage known as the Callophore, tenaculum, and the furcula. The next one is the prolegs of the caterpillar. Now caterpillars of the Lepidoptera bears a 5 pairs of prolegs, 4 pairs on the abdominal segment number 3 to 6, and the 5th pair which is present on the 10th abdominal segment. The number and the development of the proleg is reduced in some species of the Lepidoptera, but they are considered as a true segmental appendages, and they are found to be developed from the embryonic limb rudiments and performs the locomotory functions. Okay, and each leg is differentiated into the 3 regions. The proximal region is referred as a ring, the middle cylindrical region known as a cylindrical tube, and the distal region is referred as a cuticular retractile lobe pad, is also called as a plantula. So here in this diagram you can see, so this is a head region, so this is a thoracic region, the thoracic legs are there, prothoracic, mesothoracic and metathoracic, and from this segment these are the abdomen, and here you can see from the segment number 3rd, 4th and 6th, they contains a appendages which are referred as a prolegs, and similar kind of appendages is also present on the 10th abdominal segment, and these are referred as the prolegs, which are found into the larval stages of the insect belongs to the order Lepidoptera. The proleg of the 10th segment are also referred as the anal leg or the postpeds. So here this one is a postped or the anal leg and resembles with the other prolegs in a structure, though it differ from that of the musculature of the legs which are found into the thoracic region. So in this way, these are the abdominal appendages which are present before the genital aperture and hence are referred as the pregenital abdominal appendages. So in this way, we have learned in this lecture the various pregenital abdominal appendages. First one we have learned the styliform appendage. Then second we learned the columballian appendages in the form of Callophore, tenaculum and furcula. And among the order Lepidoptera, particularly at the larval condition, the abdominal segment before the genital aperture contains a leg-like structure which are referred as prolegs, which are useful for the locomotion into the larval condition. So this is end with the topic, that is pregenital abdominal appendages among the insects. Thank you very much.